Hey everybody, it's Casual Boops coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. It is the VK2801 105mm gun version, I guess. It's this is the gift tank, the well-deserved reward tank for, I guess, tanks that are accounts that are a certain number of years old. I don't exactly know who's going to get this one, but basically, if you are a veteran of the game, you probably remember this little monster. It used to be the exact same tank as the VK2801 on the tech tree, because that tech tree tank used to have the option of running a 105mm derp gun, which was excellent. And then Wargaming decided that fun wasn't allowed, and around, like, I think it was like 9.18, the update 9.18 took it away. No fun allowed. And so anyways, they've decided that fun is again allowed, and so they've reintroduced this tank. This is the well-deserved reward tank. This is the VK2801 105. And I'm just going to run you through it here. So this isn't really going to be a should you get this tank, because you know, if your count is old enough, you're just going to have it. The question is, you know, is it a tank or is it a garage slot? And I think honestly, it's a tank. This is a fun little monster. If you enjoy playing Tier 6 at all, like, it's a blast. I enjoy playing it. I'm probably going to keep this one and play it a whole bunch. But I'll get right into it. So basically, if you're looking at a comparison of the VK, the tech tree tank, and this tank, I'll just do it real quick here. Firepower-wise, everything is different. Obviously, this is irrelevant. Gun handling, it's all different. But mobility-wise, and armor and health and all that, this stuff is the same. So the tank is the same, with the exception of the fact that I think the power to weight is slightly different. So it's a tiny, teeny bit slower, and a teeny bit, it turns just a little bit less quickly. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, I'm going to say that this is basically the same. I will say that the tech tree VK2801 gets field mods because it's a tier 6, right? You get these different field mods, which are nice. Like, I would love to have these things. Unfortunately, the VK2801 the 105mm does not get field mods, or unless they change that between the making of this video and when they release it, which I don't think they will. But at this moment, it doesn't have field mods, which is kind of a bummer, because this tank is really good, and I would love to make it that much better. So, but yeah, basically, it is. We'll just get into. I guess I'll get into the stats here real quick. So, like, it's got a derp gun, right? And it's got 3 rounds. It's got an AP round. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the non. This is the one. This is the one. It still has an AP round. It has a heat round with 104mm penetration, and it has an HE round at 53. So standard, you should be running mostly HE rounds, because this is a derp gun, and that's what you should be running. And then you probably should have a few heat rounds, because if you're, you know, facing off against things that you can't pen with your HE, like maybe like a T34 or something like that, then this is the way to go. And then you can pen them for 350, lol. The AP is kind of garbage. 64 pen doesn't really do a whole lot. If you can pen with AP, you could probably pen with HE. So it's not really worth it to carry a whole bunch of AP rounds. So it's basically mostly HE with some heat rounds sprinkled in there. And the heat rounds are kind of expensive and very, very slow. So look out for that. But the HE rounds, right? So they're hitting for 410. You got low penetration. It's just like every other derp gun. Obviously, with the HE changes, you can't just slap somebody anywhere. You need to hit lightly armored tanks. And the gun is kind of potato. Like, these soft stats aren't that great. And the final dispersion is 0.53. Like, it is a potato launcher. It's a derp gun. But because you have field mods, because you have equipment from Equipment 2.0, you can get this gun a lot more well behaved, and I'll go into that in a second here. But you get 10 degrees of gun depression, 20 degrees of gun elevation. It goes 64, and it gets there in a hurry. And then you can throw a turbo on this with, you know, 26 power to weight. Feels good. Like, the tank feels peppy. It feels peppy. Doesn't feel slow. And a very important fact here is that it weighs 26.8 kilograms, or 26,800 kilograms, 26.8 tons or whatever. So what that means is that you are the anti-light tank. You can ram things. And also, this 53mm of penetration doesn't sound like a lot, but that is enough to penetrate most light tanks that you see in this game with this tank. If, like, a tier 8 light tank, like a Batchat 12T, you can hit that. You can hit that for 410. Barasks, you can do that. I mean, like, it's all that. Yeah, it is a very serviceable 53 penetration. Like, you're not going to be face checking tier 8 heavy tanks but you are the anti-light tank because you can pen and then ram, and then it's a good time. Now I will say that the crew layout, just like the tech tree one, is a little awkward, and that can be said for the entire German light tank line. The crew layout goes from like, I don't know, what is it, like 5 to 4 to 3 to 4 to 3 again. It's a nightmare. But this one has 5, so hang on to your radio, man. If you have an awful Panther, this is the same crew layout as that. 380 view range is not awesome, but it also gets 14.25 base camo, which is pretty okay. And that means, and I'll get into what you can do with this. Like, this thing actually has the capability of being really sneaky, surprisingly, given this you know, the size, the chonker that it is. Armor wise, there isn't really any. It's a light tank. But the question is, if you see one of these on the battlefield, is it going to pen you with HE? Like, if you get in a derp fight with another one of these things, the answer is, you know, if he gets your side, he's going to pen you. Like, these things, I assume when they get released, everybody will be running around in their VKs, and you'll be seeing a lot of those. There'll be a lot of VK on VK action. And as long as you don't show them, if you keep your front toward the enemy, you're probably okay. But this turret face is a 50, you know, it's risky. So, but otherwise the armor is just good enough to be basically HE proof on the front. But otherwise it's still a light tank. You know, if you compare this to, like, I don't know, any other like, I don't know, some tier 6 medium tank, you're going in. Yeah, like the armor's not good. It's just barely enough to keep the HE out. But that's okay. You know, like, it doesn't need the armor. It's a light tank. It's not supposed to be, you know, blocking things. So with that, I guess we'll get into, the armor's not there. We'll get into the various builds. So there's 3 ways, I think, to play this. We'll start with the first one, which is the passive scout. So this thing actually can do the passive scouting thing really well, I think, because of the equipment 2.0 and the pretty decent base camo rating. So if you equip it like this with a low noise exhaust and your crew looks like, you basically just need brothers in arms and concealment. All the rest of this is just gravy. And then camo paint makes a big difference. You get an extra 3% base camo rating for throwing paint on there. So some kind of camouflage, throw it on there. It doesn't matter. Just the hull if you're using camouflage. The paint in the game doesn't do anything. It looks pretty. It doesn't give you the camo bonus. You need the camouflage or a style. Those are the 2 things that give you this bonus. And you can see it gives 3% across the board, which is nice. So throw that on there, and concealment and brothers in arms and stuff, and I run it with food because I'm a tryhard. And you get 38% camo on the move. And even after shooting, it's almost 10% camo. And with the binoculars, you get, like, this view range is excellent. At tier 6, people don't have good crews. They don't have really, like, this camouflage works really well. And then you can be spotting things like a god because they don't have good camouflage or good view range. And I threw a turbo on there because I wanted to get to the bush that I wanted to use, you know, quicker. Like, going from 64 to 68 is big. But, like, to be honest with you, if you wanted to throw on, like, I don't know, something else, you could make the argument that, okay, let's really lean into the camouflage thing, right? The 39%. Like, this is one build. This one's questionable. It's whatever you want. I like the turbo because I like to go fast. This is the I would call this the spotting, the pure scout build. If you're like, oh, this is a light tank, I want to play it like a light tank, this is how I would build it. Option 2 is, I don't care about scouting, I want to use this gun and I want to make it work, and it's going to be awesome. So this is again with a crew that's decent. But again, mostly the thing is, you get your rammer and your V-stab to get the soft stats down where it's more comfortable, and then an improved aiming gets you down to 0.47, which honestly, if you have one of the bounty improved aimings, gets you down to 0.45, which is, now we're really, like, now you can start to hit weak spots and things. Like, this starts to feel really good. And again, you're plenty fast. You've still got like a 30% camo rating because reasons. 10 degrees of gun depression. Like, it's just a fast, like, you can just shoot your way out of so many problems with this build, and so I like this. But the one thing that you really can't do, or you have a hard time doing unless your crew is very good, this has all the view range skills, is kind of scouting. Like, you're really, 429 is, well, to be honest, most scouts at tier 6 aren't really all that great either, so this is probably the way I will be running it, because why not? But for most people, this is probably the build. This is the third build. This is kind of the all-arounder. where maybe you're not running, maybe your crew is decent, right? Or maybe you're not running food because you're not a tryhard like me, and so you still want to be able to scout things. So you're probably running optics in the improved slot, a rammer, and a V-stab, so you can still blap things. So your gun handling is still kind of blah, but it's a derp gun. You got to throw the shot out there and see what happens, and sometimes it pens, and then sometimes it misses, and that is what it is. But you still have great camouflage and great view range. So this just allows you to be the active scout, and then also go in there and blap other enemy scouts because you can. So this is probably the loadout that I would recommend for most people. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to show you a clip here demonstrating the ability of this tank to run the passive scouting role and kind of do its whole thing. And we're on what is this, Minsk, and there's a tier 8s in the game. There's an artillery in the game, and I'm going to find this bush here and just kind of sit in the bush and use my camouflage and my binoculars and see everything in the entire world. And you can see it. I'm not getting spotted. It's working pretty good. And we'll go ahead and skip forward a little bit. Okay, and so now we see a T-25-2 that's doing the things. He's spotted by us, and because the HE rounds can still pen his turret, so I want to sit and wait and see what I can do because I'm going to do my scouting roll. And I see, like, you know what? I'm just going to send it. So we're just going to casually do 407 damage to his turret and not get spotted. I'm still not spotted at this moment because I don't know if that guy's crew is just garbage or what the deal is, but I did not get spotted for doing that. Balance. Later in that same game, I'm still in the same bush because lol doesn't matter, and I got to punish that T-25-2 and not have to do a whole lot about it. The Scorpion G sees that he is about to bail, so we're just going to casually do 419 damage to a Scorpion G, and once again not get spotted for doing so. So like the camo on this thing really surprised me, and the ability to just beat up on other paper, even tier 8s really drove it home. Really made the tank a lot of fun for me to play. Okay, so a lot of you might be thinking to yourself, I want to ram things in this tank, and so I didn't really have the time to organically find situations in games where I could ram things and show you guys what it would look like. So I had to manufacture this this situation. And here I am ramming like a tier 8. Bulldog, Chinese Bulldog. It's got pretty good, it's a pretty heavy tank. But you can see, I was able to pen it and then run in and ram it for 200 and then pen it again 8 seconds later. So that just goes to show that, like, in the right circumstances, even a tier 8 light tanks are not safe against this thing. Okay, and so now you might be thinking, all right, what about tier 6 light tanks? Here's a T50-2. A lot lighter tank. You want to basically, I wouldn't recommend ramming things unless you know what you're doing and what you're ramming and how well you can do, because an auto-aiming, right? So I auto-aimed on the tank and I hit him in the back of the turret, which is why I didn't pen, and now I'm in a bit of a bit of a pickle. But you can see, like, ramming tier 6s, I can do 400 damage. Okay, last but not least, the Barask, a tier 8 paper medium tank. I know these things are rolling around. They were just on sale, and everybody hates these tanks because they're just so potent. Well, alright, if you just happen to find yourself in a situation where you've got a Barask when he's reloading, I'm not saying that this is something you should do or try to do, but this is what the thing can do, right? A VK can ram a Barask for about 500 and then shoot it twice, and so, like, paper tanks really need to watch out for derp guns like this, especially when they're as fast. It's basically like a miniature T49. Alright, so in the last part of this video, I'm just going to show you some funny things that, that I experienced while playing this tank a few times, only 5 or 6 times. And this just goes to show, like, what the thing is capable of. And, yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you enjoy the video, and hopefully you enjoy the tank. I know I will. And thanks to Wargaming for giving it back, I guess. Looking forward to someday getting my 10-round clip and my Bulldog back. That would be great. So, thanks, guys. Enjoy the show.
Target acquired. Enemy hit. One of our tracks is damaged.